Standing in the wake of this train wreck, my heart is beating faster in my chest. This depression terrifies me. When I'm awake, it's like these thoughts, they paralyze me. I don't wanna feel like this. I don't wanna feel like this. Time stops, weightless and cold. Silence burns like fire while my fears unfold. There's panic. Tooth to my cheek, too hard to speak without you. Lungs drained of air, life feels unfair without you. Come back to me, don't leave me to dream about you, dream about you, dream about you. How can I breathe without you? How can I breathe without you? Without you, what is left to say when the sky falls? I'm staring at your ghost in the stars. There's not a day that I don't miss you. The feeling swelling overflow. It's like I see you, hear you. I don't wanna feel like this. Why do I still feel like this? Heart ripped out of my brain. I sit here talking to myself. I think I'm going insane. Tooth to my cheek, too hard to speak without you. Lungs drained of air, life feels unfair without you. Come back to me, don't leave me to dream about you, dream about you, dream about you. How can I breathe without you? How can I breathe without you? The only way to fix this, the only way to fix this pain inside, the only way to fix this is a deep breath in as you say goodbye.
I kick ass for the Lord.
What about me?
I never loved him the way that I love you. Just drops the mic.
Sydney with his butt.
Can't see it from here.
What about the panty?
What about the
Joe?
panty? What's up, Butters? Oh my gosh. Here we go. Let me turn this off here so everybody can see us and see us well. Sorry, I'm still working out the kinks of this, but welcome in, everybody, and welcome to 52/1993. I am your host, Cody, and I'm joined by my co-host this week, Joe. As you can see by his nice little name and his waving, he looks so good. Look at him. He looks great.
Such a good waiver.
You're such a good waiver. And I just dropped some information on him before we even got started here that my computer crashed right before this, and so did all of my notes that I made. So I'm kind of doing this on the fly right now. But if this is your first time watching us, welcome into 52/1993, where we watch movies from the year 1993, important movies that were released this year, mostly by weekend releases. Some of these movies aren't that important, but I chose them, so they are important. Doesn't matter if they are good or bad. But we watch them anyway, and we tell you a little bit about them and some fun stuff about them. And then usually I'll have, somebody like Joe here to talk about the movie with. And then if they're a new guest, I'll ask them about their interest in movies. If they're an old guest, I'll ask them about some other things. So we're just testing out some new waters here and seeing how everything is going with that. So now that we're here, I can kind of get started with everything and tell everybody about our fun movie this week. I'm very eager to see how you felt about this movie because I had a good time. But this week's movie is called Last Action Hero, and a little bit of information about Last Action Hero is it came out a week after the number one movie at the box office, Jurassic Park, which we talked about last week. It came out on June 18th, 1993. So tough competition going up against Jurassic Park there. It was directed by John McTiernan, who is famous for directing Die Hard, among some other notable movies there. It was written by Shane Black, who is also a notable screenwriter for most of the Lethal Weapon series, Iron Man 3, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, The Good Guys, which I recommend highly if you have not seen Nice Guys. Is that what it's called? Nice Guys? Nice Guys. I think that's what it's called. Great movie. This cast is pretty star-studded. A lot of cameos in this movie. But the main stars are Arnold Schwarzenegger playing Jack Slater, F. Murray Abraham playing John Practice. That's pretty great. Tom Noonan playing Ripper, and Tom Noonan himself. Charles Dance, who you might know as one of the people, one of the bad guys from. I was going to say Lord of the Rings. It's not Lord of the Rings. It's the other one, the Game of Thrones. That's the one I was looking for there. Who else? Austin O'Brien playing Danny. He's our main character. Who else we have in here? Robert Prosky as Nick. That's a very important one. And Bridget Wilson in her first role playing Whitney. And I think that's pretty much it for the main cast that we have here. We have a lot of cameos. I mean, Ian McKellen's not really in a cameo role in this, but he does show up. Jim Belushi, Chevy Chase, Lisa Gibbons, MC Hammer, Little Richard, Robert Patrick, Sharon Stone, Maria Shriver, Jean-Claude Van Damme, Damon Wayans. These guys are all in the background. Tina Turner's in this movie. This is the last movie that Tina Turner ever does for ever. Angie Everhart, a lot of people in here.
Hollywood, maybe.
Hollywood. I mean, this is a Hollywood film. I think Arnold got all his friends involved. I would even consider Sly Stallone having a cameo in this movie. So that's pretty cool too. The synopsis. Let me run through this real quick. Following the death of his father, young Danny Madigan takes comfort in watching action movies featuring the indestructible Los Angeles cop Jack Slater. After being given a magic ticket by theater manager Nick, Danny is sucked into the screen and bonds with Slater. When evil fictional villain Benedict gets his hands on the ticket and enters the real world, Danny and Jack must follow and stop him. I feel like that synopsis is a little misleading, just a little bit. Because I feel like, it's whatever. This movie had had a budget of $85 million, which is like at least 20 million more than Jurassic Park.
Wow.
So let that sink in. And then it only had a box office pull in of 137.3 million. That's, not bad, but not the numbers that they thought they were going to do. And it has a Rotten Tomatoes score of 40%, wild, and an IMDb score of 6.4. Let me give you a couple reviews before we get into this movie conversation with Joseph here. Roger Ebert gave it 2.5 stars out of 4. He said there's a lot of action in Last Action Hero, but the underlying story never quite works. 2.5. I feel like that's a thumbs up from him. It's over half for him. So, and then there's another one, I probably a more positive review. Even if the intermixing of kid fantasy and adult shoot 'em up, Hollywood insider jokes and cheap Arnold puns doesn't completely bowl you over. It's clever and it's intriguing. Desson Thomas of the Washington Post posted that. And the legacy, this one, there's not much of a legacy. There was some planned sequels for this, but with the box office not doing as well as it probably they thought it was going to do, there not much happened with this one. This did earn a few Razzies, but Razzies can, go away. I think they're stupid, and I don't like them. But anyway, let's jump into what is hopefully going to be a new format for us here, and some questions and some fun things that we're going to talk about. Hopefully be a little bit more conversational, and feel free to chime in the chat, and we'd love to hear some of your answers on some of these. So first and foremost, I want to know what did you think, Joseph? I know that we're waiting for the overall star ratings and stuff like that. But I gotta know. I've been eagerly waiting. I've been refreshing Letterboxd every day to be like, has he reviewed it? Has he reviewed it? I gotta know.
Probably weeks from now it'll show up.
That's right.
I mean, I think I like satire a lot more than most people, and just like quick, kind of baseless humor. I can carry a movie a lot more for me. So it was just like, I feel similar to like Hot Shots and those type of movies. Like, it was fine. Like, nothing was phenomenal about it. Some of the humor was really great. Some of it was like so cheese, but I mean, it was fine. It was okay. I enjoyed it. It was a fun watch. It's got a lot of rewatch value to me. I could watch it again today if I wanted to, and be fine with it. So
let's cut the stream off and let's just rewatch it right now.
Watch it. Just stream it.
Let's just stream it right now. I kind of agree with you. This is not a movie that's going to be like, I'm not going to be amazed by. I'm not going to go out and probably recommend to my friends or anything. Hey, you got to see this 1993 movie. It's the greatest. But it was definitely a lot more fun than I remember. It's probably been 30 years since I've seen this movie, or maybe a little under that. But was this the first time you'd seen it?
It may have, I think it may have been the first time I saw it in entirety. I recognize, pieces of it, but I didn't have the full story in my head.
That's kind of how I went into it. I feel like the only part of this movie I had seen was the last 20 minutes. I think that was the only part of this movie I'd seen previously.
I think I was opposite. I think I had seen the part where, spoiler, he's in the movie, more than after they get out and the real world implications and all that.
So okay, well, I think we're in for a good conversation at least. So, first off, let's talk about the best scenes in this movie. And we're going to limit this to about, 4 to 5 scenes that really make the movie. And honestly, this movie is only about, if you think about it, like 6 scenes total. I mean, honestly.
Yeah, I mean,
So for me, I think I had 6 scenes listed, but I could probably come up with them just off the top of my head. The first one is like the introduction to Jack Slater and the movie that he is in. I think that's probably the best place to start. If that is that on your list?
yeah, I liked kind of the build up to finding out who Jack Slater was and all that. My favorite part of all of that was the Hamlet actor, where they like did just the most ridiculous hyped up version of Hamlet in like a movie trailer form. That might be my favorite part of the whole movie, but yeah.
I think that whole introduction thing. Well, the Jack Slater 3 movie is incredible. I mean, you get introduced to Slater, you get introduced to Lieutenant Decker, and no joke, Lieutenant Decker comes into this thing and he is screaming the entire time. And it's supposed to be that way. It's supposed to be funny. I couldn't understand a word he was saying, probably also intentional, but I was like, I don't know. When I first started watching it, I had to turn on the subtitles because I was like, I feel like I'm going to miss something if I don't do that. And I'm glad I did, but
yeah, especially with like, I feel like satire where like they do a bunch of quick jabs, like subtitles can help like you catch a lot of stuff that you might miss, even just like passing references and stuff. So
yeah, so with that, Tina Turner's also in the scene very briefly. We get introduced to Jack Slater, and he is like, I love it. He doesn't just walk in; he walks over top of all of these cop cars with his snakeskin boots, which I think when I was a child, I thought like was the coolest thing. I think I had a pair of snakeskin cowboy boots because
nice.
I don't think it was because of this movie, but yeah, I'm pretty cool. I'm not bad. But maybe we get introduced to him. We get introduced to the Ripper, who's terrifying looking.
Yeah, good kudos to the makeup.
Like seriously though, like the Ripper was disgusting looking. So I mean, he's pretty gross looking. And we find out that throughout all this, there's like bad puns. We get to see, typical action movie things happen, and with a little bit of like playfulness with that. Like he's telling him to drop the guns and everything, and he starts pulling out like all these guns, and it's like 9 or 10 of them that he lays on the ground, and then he throws the grenade at him. That's obviously a fake grenade because it doesn't go off. I was a little confused when I first saw that, and then it ends up being like a knife that his son kills the bad guy with. So I think this really sets the tone for the kind of movie that we're going to get, a just ridiculous action movie with just some crazy stuff happening.
Over the top, like take all your tropes and send them to the max.
Exactly. Is there anything else from this? Like, this is the first scene I had like that really got us into the movie.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. Like you mentioned the review that talks about like his dad or whatever. Like that's just kind of like really subtle. In the movie, like the way you find out his dad is dead is his mom is saying something like, "Did you think I wanted to be a widow at 40 or something?" Just like, and then you're like, "Oh, his dad's dead," but you never really like get any like outright substantiated like, "Oh, he's the father figure" type thing going on. It's just like very, very, very subtle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we get all that it very early. And we also like during this first thing, we get introduced to this old theater dude named Nick, who's I don't know why he is the way he is. I don't know. He's like this old senile man that runs a theater that just lets this child come in. I guess it's like safe for this kid, but like this New York of 1993 is the most trashy New York I've ever seen. And like, I mean, it's kind of like that, right? But I don't
I
know.
guess. I don't know. It was like very weird vibes, like, just he's inviting him to a midnight showing of this new movie, just like him and the kid, and like you try not to get like creepy vibes from that, but it's hard not to.
Yeah, and which is really fascinating. I'll share something later in like our "Did you know" section, a fun fact section about Nick specifically. It's like the only fun fact that I listed that I was like, this is really cool and important to the movie. So we'll get to that.
Okay.
So yeah, Danny ends up going to this midnight. I think the second big scene that I want to talk about is when Danny does get the magic ticket and ends up going into the movie, and we are like catapulted into this chase scene, this car chase scene, right into the movie. Probably one of the more ridiculous moments in this entire film
Yes.
is the chase scene where Danny just appears in the back of Jack Slater's car, and just hilarity ensues. I think this is one of the funnier parts of the movie.
Yes, I love the sharp transition, just like straight in, and like that. Everything that happened with that car was like hilarious. It's just like everything you've ever seen in any action movie. We're gonna take it one step further. This car can do. I mean, it goes like across water at one point. It like grinds on a Coke truck. Like it's just ridiculous. And like as soon as he's in there and all this is happening, that like, okay, we're in like the action world where the rules are a little different from the real world.
Yeah. Oh, I love that part. I love that so much. We get the shootout scene. It adds to the fun, the humor of this scene is like Arnold Schwarzenegger is just like, whatever, there's a kid in the back seat of my car, and he's like having a conversation with him while shooting at the bad guys, while driving. And he's just like Arnold Schwarzenegger's just turned around, just shooting. The car is still driving, and the kid's like, who's driving this thing? Or it takes a lot of practice or whatever.
Yeah, it takes a lot of practice, I think he says.
So
does it?
there's a lot of ridiculous. He basically can blow up any car with like one shot.
Yep.
This is also where we see the ice cream truck scene.
Oh yeah.
Where he blows up this ice cream truck.
Best kill.
And then one of the guys that's in another vehicle. Yes, best kill. I have this down as the most like ridiculous moment. This is my biggest what the WTF ridiculous moment of this movie is when he gets an ice cream cone to the back of the head for the kill. Just completely out of nowhere.
And the line that goes with it.
Yeah, go ahead. What's the line that goes with it?
The line that goes with it, he like kind of chuckles. He's like, iced that guy to cone a phrase. Yeah, so bad.
That was definitely on my best quotes list, favorite quotes list. No, that's pretty great. And like honestly, the puns in this movie are way better than like Batman and Robin puns.
They really are. It's like they did a better job with the one-liners, making fun of action one-liners than a lot of the actual one-liners in action movies, if that makes sense. It's like, I don't know. It's weird.
I think that's I don't know how much of it is due to the writing here. of Shane Black, who's kind of known for this kind of dialogue. Again, I point, if you haven't seen a Shane Black movie, like Iron Man 3 is probably the second best of that franchise. It might be considered the best of that franchise, but like Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, if you haven't seen that movie, it's very, very funny, very witty. Lethal Weapon is very funny, and very action packed. And then again, The Nice Guys with Russell Crowe and Ryan Gosling. Definitely go look that movie up if you've not seen that movie. That movie's great. But that's the kind of humor that we're looking at. That's and I think there's a lot of that has to do with him with this movie, and making it as clever in ways as it can. What else happens in this scene with the car chase scene? I feel like there's a couple more ridiculous things.
Yeah. Let's see. I know there's more stuff that happens in there. But the main things for me were,
I know
like,
they drive off
ice
the bridge.
cream. Yeah.
Yeah, the ice cream truck. We see the like LA River that you see in like every movie ever. It's in Grease. It's in Terminator 2. You see that, like, he drives off the bridge into that. Nothing's wrong with the car, of course. The car's fine.
Right.
So that shows up in this. Yeah, I mean, this is just a good action scene, and I think that's what this movie is just built on. Is just these like 4 to 5 really good action scenes. And I'm trying to think, and I don't think there's anything else. There's a scene that I wanted to add in this, which is basically the aftermath of this scene, where we get to kind of establish like what is going on, the plot wise, and like Danny trying to explain everything to Jack Slater, like he's in a movie and whatever. We go to the LAPD station, which shows up a couple times in this movie, and it's as ridiculous as it can possibly be. You see futuristic cops in there. You see the cop from Terminator 2's in this. Sharon Stone's character from Basic Instinct shows up. There's a cartoon cat. There's a black and white digitalization of Humphrey Bogart. Like, it's ridiculous. And but it gives you every kind of typical movie trope or action movie trope about the police station. So I really like this scene. I think you get a couple of different funny bits from this scene, especially with him. I think this is where he tells him that he's played by a guy named Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Jack Slater has no idea who that is, obviously. And like during all this, they go out and they go to like a Blockbuster and they see like a Terminator 2 poster, and it's Sylvester Stallone and all this stuff. Just basically. Also, how ridiculous. I mean, again, this movie's ridiculous, but how ridiculous that this kid shows up, knows a little bit about the case that's going on or whatever for Jack Slater 4, the movie. And the lieutenant is just like, he's your new partner. And everybody's just like, yep, this is normal.
Which the kid even mentions, like, that proves my point that we're in a movie. Like, any normal person would have taken me to like child services or something, like in the real world. So you're proving my point, but but they still just didn't listen. It was funny.
The kid has a great quote in here too, and I can't remember what it was, but it's basically like, I'm here to like soften you. Like, you're here to teach me a lesson, or I'm here to like soften. I don't remember what the quote is, but it's such a good quote. I wish.
Yeah, I think
I probably
he
did have it
refers to
written
himself as like the what is the phrase he uses? The comedic something or the comedy sidekick or something that he kept calling himself, or something like that. I can't remember the exact phrase.
Yeah. He's the comedy sidekick. after I'm trying to think, what's the next big? Oh, the next big action scene is when we meet Whitney for the first time,
Oh yeah.
and we go to Jack Slater's house, and I guess Benedict's men come over to, or not Benedict's men, but basically Benedict's guys all come over to kidnap her, I think. And this scene ends up pretty funny too. There's that whole screaming scene where Bridget Wilson, who's looking amazing in this movie, don't get me wrong,
True.
she's like screaming the entire time that she's just like kicking this guy's butt. Like, just hilarious that she is screaming the entire time, and she just keeps like kicking him in the nuts and like all this other stuff. Again, Joseph, I apologize for not having my notes in front of me, but I'm just trying to relive these. So if you have anything to add about these scenes, please go ahead.
That was really funny. Like, because like you don't see like a lot of, I guess, like strong female types in these action movies. You know, they're always being like rescued, but she was like the opposite of that, like taking care of everything herself, but still kind of like pandering to like, oh no, I'm in here screaming and he's hurting me, but really she's like taking control of the situation. So it was really funny.
I also just love that she kisses that little boy, that 13-year-old boy, just without thinking, like immediately. She's like, oh yeah, this is the guy I'm supposed to kiss from college. And then, you know, it's great. We needed a little bit more Whitney time is all I have to say.
Yeah, I did. I thought she brought a good flair to the movie. I wish she would have had a bigger role.
That's Sonya Blade, man. You're from our favorite movie, Mortal Kombat.
Our favorite movie.
Our favorite movie, Mortal Kombat, the greatest movie of all time.
Yeah.
That we won't talk bad about. Okay, I think the next two scenes that I had listed here, there's some other things that happen with that funeral, or not that funeral scene. The funeral scene is one of the next two movies. So there's the funeral scene, and then which has a lot of action in it, and then the movie premiere where they actually exit from the Jack Slater movie into the real world and kind of brings a new flair to the thing. But the funeral scene, I really want to point out because of how ridiculous. It's a rooftop funeral with a guy named something the Fart. I can't remember. It's like Tony the Fart or something like that. And it's all just a setup to get Jack Slater there. It's, again, cliche action movie.
It's all just a setup to make fart jokes.
And it really is just the setup to make fart jokes. Some good fart jokes.
Yeah.
Some really good fart. Like, my favorite part of this is the way that they set the bomb to start going. You have to pull the finger to get it started.
Yep.
Also, Arnold Schwarzenegger being like, he was a great man, a flatulent man. I like that. We also get, I don't really remember what the plan was here, but Danny gets and takes control of a crane at one point, and lifts the dead body up after like Arnold Schwarzenegger like picks him up. It's crazy.
Yeah, he does the whole bit like he's not dead, he's still alive, and is trying to like get the body off the roof, and then the crane ends up like carrying the body, and like every mobster there pulls out a gun and tries to shoot at him, and they all miss. You know, classic. Yeah, you get a lot.
Not just mobsters,
priests,
nuns.
Everybody.
You got nuns with guns, man.
Nuns
priests. Everybody's got a gun.
Everyone in attendance. Yeah.
And this isn't a bomb; it's like a nerve gas, right? Which just goes into the more of the fart jokes.
Yeah, I think it had to be because of the fart jokes. It couldn't be a normal bomb,
Oh, and also established earlier, I forgot to mention this, is the guy who plays John Practice, which is a great name and has like these great taglines like how do you sing at Carnegie Hall? Practice. Like I love that bit. F. Murray Abraham plays this guy. And Danny had already told him not to trust this guy because this is the guy that killed Mozart, referencing a movie, Amadeus. Which
so many times
during this, nobody knows what he's talking. So many times, and nobody knows what he's talking about the whole time. And I was like, if anybody's watching this movie that's never seen Amadeus, they're going to be clueless too. But gosh, what was he said, I knew I shouldn't have trusted you. Like he told me you killed Mozart. Like the guy's name is Mozart.
Who's Mo?
Mozart. But we find out he's he's a traitor to the LAPD. Typical thing, typical turncoat in an action movie. Trying to think what. Arnold gets dropped into the tar pits.
Oh yeah. For the final fart joke,
and just wipes off the tar. Yeah, the final. Oh my God, that is definitely one of the best quotes in this movie. Is silent but deadly. What else? I feel like I might be missing something from this scene, but it really is just a lot of like slapstick stuff in this.
Yeah, I really like the on the nose, the over explaining villain, moment, and how they even like took it further. Like when they turned the table on the villain, he started running his mouth too much, and then he got caught by the other villain. So it was just like slapstick. Yeah, just love it.
And they also get saved by an animated cat cop in this.
Danny DeVito.
Voiced by Danny DeVito.
Yeah.
a little twins reunion or for everybody. But yeah, Whisker saves the day. Saves the movie.
Really does. The little kids
really does. I mean,
shitting on the cartoon cat earlier, but he ate those words.
That's right. That's right. He does. And then for the final scene of this movie, I think this is probably the best. I would say this is where the best part of the movie comes in, because this is where we get the final, like the ticket grants the ability for the bad guy Benedict to leave the movie, and now he's in the real world. And the real world's a much more darker, cynical place than what they're used to in their movie lives. The bad guys can win here. So it gets a little bit darker in this scene. We also, Arnold Schwarzenegger leaves, or Jack Slater leaves, and he's going to the premiere of the Jack Slater 4 movie that they were just in. And you get this, some scenes where Arnold meets Jack, and that provides some comedy there. You get to see, Arnold Schwarzenegger really hamming it up as himself, playing a parody of himself, trying to promote Planet Hollywood, which is basically a failed Hard Rock Cafe.
And his wife
with his wife Maria Shriver. One thing I'll point out here is that Maria Shriver, whenever I saw them as a couple together, like in the later years, they're not together anymore, obviously, but like I was like, she's not that great.
Not that great.
But then, like looking back at young Maria Shriver, I was like, okay. I was like, yeah, I get it. We also the villain gets the idea to bring other villains out of movies so they can rule the world. I really liked that, and I thought they could have done a lot more with that, but I really like the idea. Like they brought the Ripper out of Jack Slater 3. I thought that was a really cool moment, especially because that villain is hideous looking. We already established that.
Yeah. And the guy that plays him was there at the premiere too, and he was kind of normal looking, which is like, of course.
Kind of normal looking. Yeah, he's a hideous guy too.
I mean, he was long and large, but
Yeah. So I don't know. What do you think? What do you think is the best scene out of those 4 to 5?
I like the earlier scene better. Like the first action scene, I think. Once he first gets into the movie, I thought that was like the best part of the movie.
The car chase scene? Yeah, I really
Yeah,
do
car
think that
chase.
that's the yeah, I think the car I think I'm with you on that one. The car chase scene, it really establishes what we're in for action wise. I think it's the best action piece of the entire movie. You get guns, you get driving, you get funny, you get some humor in there, you get some good music in there. I don't know if you think it's good or not, but yeah, I think
Yeah,
that's probably the best scene in the whole movie.
I'm like you. I like the
What's your favorite?
idea towards the end, of like the bad guy realizing that he was in a world where he might be able to do a little bit more and have some victories, and then like pull from other worlds to create even more evil and stuff. But it was just like really underdeveloped, and it's like, man, you can reach into any
Mhm.
movie and you're grabbing this dude. Like, come on, you could have done anything.
Mhm. Yeah, I agree with you. But that that end scene, I think, also leads into the next category that I want to talk about now, which is favorite character or scene stealer. Who was your favorite character? Who do you feel like stole the show?
Um, I thought I thought the villain was pretty good. Um, it seemed like they tried to to be a little bit too much like Hans from Die Hard for me, um, which I know was the point, but I, that kind of took some away from my perspective. I think the girl, the daughter, was the the best like and most entertaining part of the movie for me. I thought she was really
Yeah.
strong in the little bit that she was in, and everything else was just kind of, I mean, it was run of the mill, mediocre.
Hmm. Yeah. I think the scene that really gravitated me towards Benedict, who is I think my favorite character. I think that again, you're right. It was supposed to be Hans Gruber. Like I'm pretty sure Alan Rickman was even, they actually went after Alan Rickman to play this role. But like I think that scene where he goes across the street yelling at the parking lot attendant or whatever, the parking garage attendant, and he's like, "I want to test the theory," kind of thing, and he just shoots that guy, and like is screaming like and at the top of
Yeah,
his lungs, like in the streets, and everybody's like, "Shut up," kind of thing. I really think that scene. I really think he ate it up in that scene, and there were a couple other scenes in between where he was just going on some exposition, or maybe when he was talking to his boss. Like he hates his boss a lot. Like I don't know. I really thought he kind of chewed the scenery and like did a really good job with his character. As ridiculous as a villain as he is, I thought he did a really good job. And
yeah.
so that's who I had that kind of stole the show for me. I do love me some Whitney though.
It was
Am I
weird that
wrong?
that scene where it just almost seemed like too dark for the movie. It was like, I mean, if you were gonna start the whole second half of the movie, like when they come into this world on that note, and then like carry it forward, great. But it was just like, whoa, like this dude is exploring the depths of how sinister he can be in this new place. Um, and then that was it. But he did a great job.
Yeah, it's pretty dark. And I think last week I made a mistake and told everybody it was a kids movie.
Wow. You're gonna get some letters
Yeah.
about that.
I'm probably yeah, from all of my fans. What's your favorite quote?
Ooh. Let's see. I got a list here. I'm trying to think. I got some on like both ends of the spectrum. Most of them like funny, like you know, puns or one-liners. Um, but also some other ones. At some point, Benedict was like, "If God was a villain, he'd be me." I thought that was pretty strong. Um,
I love that line. I love that line.
yeah. Again, like maybe not in tone with the rest of the film so much, but great line. I never just talked to a woman before. It's neat when like he's in the real world and like conversing with Danny's mom all night or whatever. I guess he's like a typical womanizer or whatever in the action world. So I thought that was a really
Mhm.
funny line. Um, at one point, he says, "Boy, does this suck weenie or what?" So that's how you know it was a kids' movie, because who says that? Uh,
Yeah.
those were the biggies.
I particularly liked what is it, Rubber Baby Bubby or Rubber Baby Bumpers. Um, and he's like, I bet you didn't think I was gonna say that, did you? Because he kept saying I'll be back the entire movie. I
Yeah.
think that one's my favorite line. Silent but Deadly is great. But I think Rubber Baby Bubby or I can't even say it.
What is it officially? Rubber baby
Uh,
buggy bumpers? Is that it? Rubber baby.
yeah, I think that's what it is. Rubber Baby Buggy Bumpers.
That's one of those that you never
Rubber
really like
Bubby
take the
that
time to.
I can't.
No.
No.
Oh,
And
there
good
was
for
also one
him
at the
with his
very,
thick
very
Austrian
beginning.
accent.
Maybe even his first like full line of the movie or second when he grabs that guy and says, "You want to be a farmer," and then he catapults, kicks him in the nads, and says, "Here's a couple of acres." I don't really get like the line,
I
but
forgot.
it's very standout.
Couple of acres, like your balls, like
Like
two, they're
acorns.
aching.
Oh, ache.
Like aching, like they're
Oh,
hurting.
just getting this on stream. Wow. LOL. Yeah. Okay.
It's a
There we
great
go.
line though. It's a great line.
Now I like it even more that I understand it. Acres. Aching. Nice. Thank you
Acres.
for the
Give
enlightenment.
me a couple of acres. Yeah. I like that. Yeah, you're welcome. Um, yeah, there's some good lines in there.
Yeah.
Biggest laugh. I have a new category. It's called biggest laugh, cry, scare, or thrill. I think that the biggest laugh goes to the ice cream cone in the back of the head, and the line after. I think that's the also up for it. Definitely most what the heck ridiculous moment, WTF moment. So
Yeah.
feel
Let's
free
crack
to
that
disagree.
together. I mean, I think mine is close there. I think the biggest like laugh and WTF moment were kind of coinciding. Is the car when the car does the crazy jump and like lands on the Coke truck and like bounces off and like keeps going, and then in combination with like a few minutes later, out of the rear of the car, you see the van that was chasing them try to do the same thing and just like explode in the background. So
Just explodes immediately.
yeah, it was awesome.
No, that you're right. That whole chase scene, I think, is probably the um, most ridiculous moments of that. But this chase scene also has what I call the best music moment of this movie. So the best music moment, anytime that there's some moment in the movie, whether it's score, whether it's soundtrack, that really is just like the best needle drop in the movie or anything. This song was written specifically for this movie. It's called Big Gun, and it's by AC/DC, and Jack Slater's playing it in his car while he's in the middle of this chase scene on a cassette player. That's not like a cassette deck that's in his radio. It's like a separate deck that he has that he can like
Yeah, I
I don't
saw
know.
that.
I
What
think
the
that's
heck?
probably the best music moment in the movie, by far. That movie, that music's. I mean, it's AC/DC, so it kind of sounds like every other AC/DC song to me. Sorry, guys, but I think that's the best music moment for me.
I have a weird one, and I had
Perfect. I love it.
to double take several times. So at the end, like climax moment of the movie, um, after the Ripper's already, met his doom, and then Benedict ends up showing up on the rooftop too. Um, he's taking like shots at them while they're hiding behind cover, and like after every shot he takes, there's like a little like electronic trill that goes on for like 5 or 10 seconds, and it like comes in really strong and then just kind of like
Hmm.
trails off. I don't know if it's like a riff off of like some like gun sound that's they're making fun of or what. I wish I had like a little clip up because
Hmm.
it's really hard to explain, but it's like every time he
No, no,
shoots,
no. I'm definitely gonna.
you see the bullet hole, and then it's like or something like that. That's a really terrible
I
impression,
know.
but that's the
No,
best
I
I can
like
do.
that.
You should go back and just like see
No,
if you
I
can
like
catch it.
that. I like that a lot.
But it made me like
Yeah,
it made me
absolutely.
laugh out loud. The first time I was like, "What was that?" Did I miss? I thought had missed something on scene, but then every time he took another shot, they did the same exact sound, and it was ridiculous.
Now I got to go back. See, guys, this is a rewatchable movie, so
Rewatchable.
you can pick up on little things like this. It's
Little
definitely
stupid things.
rewatchable. I've got. I'm gonna spring one on. I'm gonna spring one on you.
Uh-oh.
So this is the most dateable. I had this like in either or. I think we can both agree the most dateable person in this movie is Whitney Slater. She's a
Yeah.
fox
Yeah.
and she looks great. I think we can move past that. But we've
Or
got
the
F
Sharon
Mary
Stone's
Kill.
cameo.
Um, she barely. I mean,
Doesn't
I
count. Doesn't
thought
count.
when I saw that Sharon Stone was going to be in this movie, she's in for like 3 seconds because I think her and Arnold Schwarzenegger hate each other, like in real life. After they were in Total Recall. Well, after they were in Total Recall together, they like hate each other.
Dang.
And I
Awkward.
read that the only reason she was in this movie was because he was like, "Hey, I made you famous, so you need to be in this movie."
I didn't even
2
see her,
seconds.
if I'm being honest.
Ridiculous.
I read that she came by. I
She
did
came
see
out
the
right.
Terminator
She
guy.
came out right. Yeah, she came out right before him.
Missed it.
She is like a second before him. Yeah, you missed it. That's okay. You can go back and watch it. All right.
Rewatchable.
F Mary Kill
Okay.
for you. You ready for this?
Probably
The
not.
Ripper,
But, ooh.
Benedict, and who did I have? I can't remember. The fart. Let's go with the fart. So
Okay.
give me your F Mary Kill for that.
Man, that's so. The Ripper would have to be killed just because too creepy. Um, even in comparison to a dead guy and a guy that decorates his eyeballs. Yeah, he's got to be killed.
I should have said practice. Let's do practice. Let's say practice instead of the fart because I think that's a better villain than the
Okay.
fart. We don't get enough of
Yeah,
the fart.
we don't get much. I mean, he's dead, so practice. I mean, he's kind of suave, like so. Probably. Do you want to live forever with the really twisted guy who doesn't know? Yeah. Okay. So, um, F. Benedict, marry, um, practice, and kill the
Practice
Ripper. Yeah.
the Ripper. Okay. I like that. That's exactly how I was gonna go.
I think looks wise, maybe Benedict, is fine, but like when you get that moment where he's like understanding how he can be when he's completely unrestrained, that's probably not something you want for
Yeah.
life.
Thank you for answering that ridiculous question for me.
Of course.
I thought it was a good one. I thought of that
That,
late. I thought
yeah,
of that
that's
one
pretty
late
good.
one night, and I was like, yes,
When I
these
saw
three are
that
gonna
on
be
the
good.
list, I was like, I wonder who he's gonna pick for these.
Who do you think gave the best performance in the movie?
Not the kid. I didn't like the kid.
Okay.
Also, I would have sworn he was related to Kevin Costner. He looks such like a tiny Kevin Costner.
He does look. He does. He looks like Kevin Costner. Yeah.
I mean, is it bad to just go with Whitney again? I mean, Arnold was fine. Like his delivery of the humor was pretty good, and I really enjoyed how he made fun of himself a lot. Like I feel like that can be
Mhm.
difficult to do, and there's a lot to be said for that. But I didn't see anything exceptional out of him, really.
Yeah. This isn't a movie where we're gonna get like Oscar performances, but I really did like kind of what you said. Like, I'm okay with you picking Whitney. Obviously, it's your choice. But like with Arnold, I think he really, cheesed up the action sequences of the movie like he would in any normal one. But like, I think he was really good with the kid, and like, I really like him finding out that he is a fictional character. And him being very, very sad about it made me laugh a lot, but also like kind of sad for him. Like,
Yeah.
and so I think that's where I go with Arnold. I think he kind of, I mean, without him, this movie doesn't work. But
Oh yeah. I
yeah, I
don't
think
think
he
he
gave
could
the
have
best
done anybody
performance
else.
there.
Man, I was about to say something, but it completely left me.
I just wish. I
Oh,
think I would go with Whitney if she were in the movie more.
True. Yeah, I don't think she had a big enough role, but I mean, then you don't have a whole lot of big characters. So if not her, I would probably say the guy that played Benedict would be like my
Yeah, I
two.
thought Charles Dance was pretty good.
Yeah, especially for
Being,
not the person
Hans Gruber
they
Part
wanted.
2.
Yeah,
Yeah.
took it in good humor.
Okay, so I was gonna do 93 recast on this one. I didn't really have anybody that I thought could do this movie in 1993. I mean, obviously, you're just like replacing Arnold Schwarzenegger for Jean-Claude Van Damme or Sylvester Stallone, but I don't think it's as good of a movie with those guys in it. But I did want to put this to you: 2023 recast. Who do we put in the role of Arnold? Like, kid, you can cast anybody. Like, I don't care about that. But like, who are we recasting as Arnold Schwarzenegger, as Jack Slater?
I tried to think of like who you could do. I don't think this movie gets made today as is. Like if you're gonna do, I mean, maybe like a Jason Statham, or I don't know.
That was
But I don't really.
that one actually just popped into my mind.
I mean, he's known for like action movies, I guess. But I was trying to think of like action movies today are just different. Like a lot of action movies today are like fight choreography. I feel like more than like explosions and car chases.
So would a Keanu Reeves be good in this kind of role? He's obviously he's done a role where he's made fun of himself in Always Be My Maybe, but yeah, like I agree with you that there's not really an action star, and the only two that came to my mind when thinking about this were The Rock and Vin Diesel.
Yeah.
Those are the only two that
Vin
came to my
Diesel.
mind.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's the exact like vein of guys that have done like enough actiony type stuff that they could like parody it well. I feel like, and the Rock's. I mean, the Rock's really good, even from like his wrestling days, at like delivery of comedy. I feel like so. I mean, that could be a solid choice.
I I think that that would be the best choice, would be The Rock in that role, and only because his movies are terrible. He's not in any good movies. But when he has done comedy before, he's done really well at it, and I just don't think he does that enough. If he's not in like a tough guy role, but I think he could do the comedy really role. John Cena might be another one to
Cena,
put in
yeah.
here, but he's not as like an established of a guy as The Rock is. So I said The Rock. I thought The
Yeah.
Rock would probably be the best.
That's a good choice. I
Maybe it'd be a
didn't
good
think about that.
career. So, all right. Did you have anything else for a recasting? Did you want to recast Whitney?
No, she can come back.
I didn't.
We'll see Sonya
She'd come
again.
back.
I'm sure
She
she
still
still
looks
looks
great.
great.
She's married to.
Yeah.
She looks great. She's married to Pete Sampras, a tennis player, so she's doing great for herself.
Nice.
All right. Now I've changed the fun facts. It's called Just Did You Know? And I only have one fact here. There were a lot of facts out there, but I didn't think there was anything. This one really changed the perspective of the movie for me a little bit. I read that originally Nick was supposed to be the devil. And
Nick
so this was
is
all not
the
like
theater
a
guy?
good thing. Nick is the theater guy, and he's the devil, and it's kind of a
Oh,
needful thing situation or whatever, where he's granting this wish kind of thing for Danny, and it's not quite the wish that he wants. It's something a little bit more
making
sinister and
mischief.
all that.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
yeah,
I mean, yeah, I guess
that was my fun.
weird.
That was my
Weird.
funnest fact.
Yeah, weird thing. I mean, again, kind of something that maybe doesn't necessarily belong. And I think it probably shouldn't be in there because that just adds a whole other element that doesn't need to be in this kind of a movie. But interesting thought, like that. Yeah, that he was like, instead of like being like just a weird, creepy old man, was like had some sinister kind of underlyings there.
It just makes sense that he's a creepy old man, and the creepy old man's the devil. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
I
why
like
not?
it.
Why not? Give him a ticket. Send him.
You have any? You have any fun facts? That's right. You have any? You have any fun facts written down?
I just had a couple of things. Let's see. Sorry, my stuff is like really disjointed here. Oh, sorry.
Don't
I
worry
know
about
I
being
had
disjointed
something.
because
I know.
I lost all my notes.
Yeah, I know I had something. About. Oh, I know what it was. Okay, found it here. So thanks for bearing with me. Art Carney, who is the guy that played the favorite second cousin Frank in the action world. The
Mhm.
you know, B-list character that is gonna send Slater out of control when he dies, even though they don't have like a really strong connection or whatever. Anyways, the guy that played him, Art Carney, does a death scene in this movie, and his last words are, "I'm out of here." This is his last like on-screen time, and his last on-screen words are, "I'm out of here." which was I thought was
That's
really
pretty.
like,
That's
weird
pretty
and, like,
amazing.
yeah, it's like you went out, yeah, in a very strange way. That was the only one I had.
Let's see here. I had something about Art Carney. Art Carney is an old actor. From I mean, he's been around for freaking ever. I
Yeah,
believe I'm trying to look it up right now as we're doing this. I think Art Carney. Yeah, here. Is this what it is? I apologize to everybody watching this right now.
you're
He was
looking for like a
nominated
movie that he
for.
did or a nomination.
I think it's a nomination they did. Okay, I think I found it here. Okay, so listen to this. Art Carney's nominated, and it's and win. And this is one thing I hate about like the Oscars. And I'm kind of on the soapbox now. Art Carney wins for his lead role in a movie called Harry and Tonto. Have you ever heard of Harry and Tonto? No, you haven't. You haven't because all these other
Right.
actors were also nominated for this at this time and didn't win. And so this is the only reason I know who Art Carney is because I believe it's like one of the biggest like mistakes we've ever made at the Oscars. Art Carney goes up against Al Pacino from Godfather Part 2, Jack Nicholson from Chinatown, Dustin Hoffman, who's playing Lenny Bruce in movie Lenny, and then Albert Finney, who's playing Hercule Poirot in Murder on the Orient Express. And Art Carney comes out and wins. It's that lifetime achievement thing. I hate it. It's one of the things that I hate about the Academy Awards that they'll do is that lifetime achievement award thing. So that's the only thing I know about Art Carney. And if we have any Art Carney people out there, I don't care. I'm not hating on him. I just, whatever. It's whatever. It's just whatever. I don't think these two. So we have two other categories that are new and really don't apply to. I don't think they apply to this movie because I do think that they're. One of these is for bad movies where we can't say anything good about a movie. I call it the if you can't say anything nice award, where it forces us to say something really good about the movie even if we hated it. And then if we have a perfect movie, like a Jurassic Park. Where it forces us to say something bad about that movie or something that would have been better. I call it the You Ain't All That award. I don't think either of those apply for this movie, so we'll just move on to the next one, which I think is going to be a really good one, and I'm really interested to see what you'll say here. But I want to know if you could pair this movie with another movie for a double feature, what are you going to choose?
I had some trouble with this one. I think there's some possibilities here. So I think it pairs good with like an actual action movie, like maybe doing the action movie first and then making fun of it by watching this one second. So like, I mean, you could plug in anything Arnold. I think in particular like Predator jumped out at me. I know that's like not super actiony, but the one-liners I think like really from Predator match pretty good with the one-liners here and making fun of them. I don't think that would be like the route I would really go though. I think I would more do like just a parody or satire double feature. So like something like Hot Shots or that movie with Val Kilmer that I can never remember the name of. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, it's not Real Genius. It's gosh, what is that movie called?
It's always on the tip.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I'm glad that you chose movies like this because that means that our recommendations are very different.
Oh yeah, okay, that's interesting.
It is called Top Secret is the movie that you're
Top
talking
Secret.
about.
Thank you. Good grief. I don't know why I can never remember the name of that movie.
That's okay.
Yeah,
that is okay. So I kind of picked two as well. The first one, I don't know why. When I first got this movie, I was like, oh, I think this would be a great double feature with Big.
Oh.
I was like a kid that kind of like I didn't Danny doesn't actually wish to be in the movie, but it kind of grants like a wish that he has, and
Yeah,
much like Big, where he wishes he could be bigger.
that's
I
a really
thought
good
that would
one.
be a good double feature, and then for the other one that I was thinking, I was like, let's just do a golden ticket double feature and add Willy Wonka in there,
Nice.
which is kind of, I mean, Willy Wonka is a little bit sinister, and he kills a lot
Yeah,
of people in that movie. Well, he didn't kill them, but he's pretty dastardly.
yeah.
He's pretty
He could kind
dastardly.
of, if especially if you're doing
All
like
right,
Nick as the devil, that could kind of get like a similar like mischief angle.
exactly. Mischief. Um, all right. So we added rewatchability rating to this, and then our overall star rating to this. If you had to rate this on a rewatchability scale, what do you think you're giving it?
I mean, if we're doing 5 stars, for me, it's a solid like 4, rewatchable. Just because the
For
humor
yeah.
the humor stays the same for me, and that's the reason for the movie, in my opinion, is the humor. So
I agree with you. I was genuinely surprised how much fun I had watching this movie. And I really liked it. And I was like, if I caught this movie on television, I would sit down and watch it for a little bit. So I agree with you. All right, now's the moment of truth. How many stars did you give it as your overall rating?
overall, I just gave it a solid 3 star. Um, I tried to keep it as close as I could to like. I feel like it's a very similar to Hot Shots Part Deux that we watched earlier this year. Is just as far as like taking a genre and sort of just making fun of it, but also like continuing to be in that genre. So Hot Shots Part
Well,
3.
I gave it a yeah, Hot Shots Part 3. I gave it a 3.5, which is
Okay.
probably a little bit better than I should have, but I found myself really enjoying this movie, and I think it's definitely better to watch with another person. I was watching with Alyssa, and
Oh, nice.
we had a great time watching this movie.
Yeah, I did watch it by
And why
myself,
does the
which
top guy look like Jack? I don't know who Jack J is. Somebody said I look like Jack J.
Jack
I
Johnson.
don't know who Jack J is, Liam. I'm sorry. Jack Johnson?
Yeah.
Jack Johansson?
Are you Jack Johnson?
Jack J. I might be. I don't know. Jack J. No idea who that is. Oh my God. I do look like that guy a lot. That's insane. I wish I could show everybody, but I don't have that ability right now. It's like a mirror. It's really true. Thank you. Thank you, Liam,
Jack J.
for that.
Looking it up right
I get
away.
comparisons every once in a while. Jack J. I've never seen this guy in my life, but it's he's got a little bit bigger of a gap in his tooth. But no, yeah, I
Oh
look
yeah,
pretty much
okay.
like this dude. It's
Yeah,
okay. I see it. I wish I kind of
I
had.
see
He
it.
has like this nice little pompadour thing that going on. I'm kind of jealous of
You
it.
gotta
Is
work
he a
on your pomp,
singer?
man.
What is this? I know I've derailed everything here, but this is kind of you've kind of thrown us off,
But Doppels always
Liam.
do that.
Who is Tom Scott? You're just coming up with bad names. Like I don't know who these people are. Who are you? And how do you know all these? Tom Scott. I get
Maybe you just
that.
did an AI
I get
image
it.
search of your face.
I'll take it. I'll take it, Liam. Thank you. You're not gonna hurt my feelings. None of these hurt my feelings. I just don't know who these people are. But you're right. You're right. I look like them. I look like everyone. Thank you,
We got some
Liam. Thank
Doppels
you.
out there.
And thank you for joining. I know I've got a lot of doppel. Funny enough, there's a guy that, and this is way off topic, but there's a guy that used to live in the same city as me, has a slightly different name than me. I'm telling you, like my name's Cody. His name was Kobe or Colby. His name was Colby, and his last name was like one letter off of me. Looks just like me. It's the most frightening thing I've ever seen in my life.
Is that why you moved?
Yeah, his name's like Colby What? Yeah, I had to. I had to get out of the state. I didn't want that guy's wife coming on to me.
Yeah.
So I do. I look like a lot of people. I look like a lot of fat blonde guys with glasses. So watch out for those guys. First, I think that's pretty much it for this movie that we're talking about. This really took a turn, and I'm loving it. I am so in love with it. Liam, please come back anytime. We do this every week, so please come back and tell your friends. Anyway, I want to thank you, Joe, for joining me. And before I let you go, I want to give you a chance to give some movie recommendations of something that you've recently watched. And I'm going to give a couple too, but I always like to hear from my guest and have them tell us a couple things that they've watched recently that they were really excited about or thought were really cool. So what do you got for me?
I've been slacking on my theater time. I did see the new Guardians movie. It was fun. It was good. It was emotional. There is some animal stuff in there. If you are tender-hearted towards animals, that will gut you. So fair warning for animal lovers out there. That yeah, just be ready for that. But yeah, it was good. I feel like it's been the best of like the newer Marvel movies. Not like spectacular, but it was solid. That's the only theater thing I've seen recently. I rewatched Tenet recently. Trying to trying to come down with an official word on how I feel about that movie after seeing it several times, and still just having a difficult time with that. But it's definitely, I feel like it's rewatchable for a different reason in that you can always like discover more. I feel like it's one of the more complex plots in a movie that I've ever seen, and there's just always more to think about. So that one's, I mean, maybe recommendable to your average people, but it's not really like much for casual viewing. So
Yeah, I agree. Thank you. Thank you for those. And thanks for following Liam. Like I said, we do this every week. And we're going through 52 movies this year from the year 1993. It's kind of an absurd thing, but we're doing it and it's fun. And we just have a lot of fun on here. Talk a bunch of trash. So I've got a couple recommendations to give out too before I let everybody go. Other than watching all 10 of the Wes Anderson movies in preparation for a future stream where we rank the 10 of the Wes Anderson movies after we've already ranked the Quentin Tarantino movies. I've watched those, so we'll talk about those later. But recently I've got two that I'll talk about. I watched a movie that is a brand new movie. I think it's still out in theaters. I know it's still out in theaters, but it might be hard to watch. But I know it's on VOD, and that's how I watched it. How to Blow Up a Pipeline. It's based on a nonfiction book about like how to kind of get the attention, doing like drastic things. The guy really doesn't go out and say, "Hey, blow up a pipeline," but I mean, he does everything but say that. But the movie has a lot of young stars in it. It was produced by some of those people as well. It is pulse pounding. I think is like it gets your heart rate going. It's probably the best movie I've seen this year so far. From the 2023 movies that have come out this year, I think it's probably my top movies from this year. So definitely check that out. And then I watched Air. That just came out on Prime, Amazon Prime. It's the Ben Affleck directed, Matt Damon starring movie about the Air Jordan and the development of that and signing Michael Jordan to Nike forever. I think it's a fun watch. I think it's a really good movie. I think it's interesting to watch a movie like this, especially because it is very corporate and very like capitalism and like, hey, let's celebrate this shoe and how, you know, we're going to get a lot of children to buy the shoe and everything. But it's kind of from that genre of movie that doesn't really exist anymore, that like, hey, let's make a 30 to 40 million dollar drama movie with some comedy in it. You don't see a lot of those anymore. They don't get made a lot. So I think Ben Affleck and Matt Damon have started their own studio to kind of make a lot more movies like this and bring them to people. So I'd give that a check, or I'd check that out if you're interested in it. So those are my two.
Nice.
Yeah. All right. Well, again, I just want to thank you, Joseph. Thank you for your recommendations, and thank you for all the people in chat that are, you know, throwing out your recommendations and everything too. I look forward to talking to each and every one of you more as we continue to do this thing. And just want to let everybody know, next week's movie is Sleepless in Seattle. That 1993 romantic movie, romantic comedy starring Tom Hanks, Meg Ryan. And it is streaming on Netflix right now. So if you want to watch that movie and come back next week and talk about it with us, we'd really appreciate it. We're streaming on Twitch. We're streaming on YouTube now. And I'd love for you guys to join us, follow us, and that way you'll know when we go live. I think we're going to be a little bit late next week just because I'll be out of town next Sunday. And we'll be streaming and talking about that probably next Tuesday, I believe, is when we're going to be doing that one. So I look forward to that then. Look forward to talking with all of you. Hope you wished all of your mothers happy Mother's Day. And we'll see you next week for Sleepless in Seattle. So thank you all
Say
so
hello to your
much.
mother for me.
And we'll see you next time.